I want to do a quick little video because this is a video that's actually been requested by some people, is if I would go over the mouth calls and different mouth calls I use and the different cuts and really what they're all about. So it'll help you, because sometimes it can be very intimidating when you go to a store, Bass Pro or Walmart or wherever you go, and you see all these mouth calls and you have all these different names and different cuts and all that. So, man, I don't know which one to get. You know, can't afford all of them, so which one do I need to get? And we're going to be talking about that in this video, so you stay tuned. We're going to head back to the truck. I'm going to lay them out, and hey, we'll talk about mouth calls a little bit. We'll get back in here in the morning. Maybe we'll get that old gobble fired up. One of them, hopefully. Here in Alabama on WMAs, you gotta have your gun in a case, so you need to make sure you check all your game laws to make sure you're legal. Another tough day out here. We've been on some public land the last couple of days. We're getting ready to roll down south here in about a couple of days and to another buddy of mine's. We're going to be hunting some private down there, so we come up here this part of Alabama and look on some public land. And we did hear a couple gobblers this morning, and got around on one, but he just kind of went quiet on us by the time we got kind of down this area, but he only gobbled like 4 or 5 times. So maybe tomorrow, maybe we'll get a little bit closer where he's at. So, but we're going to take a moment and talk about mouth calls. You know, when you start getting into mouth calling, which I think every turkey hunter really needs to be a pretty proficient mouth caller. It just helps you to free your hands up. Even though I'm a big box caller and I have my own box call, my signature series, but I've got my mouth calls too. And but there is a difference in each call, and so we're going to be talking about mouth calls. So let's get into it. Maybe this will help you when you go to find a mouth call. So as you can see, I've got 4 different mouth calls here, and there's a lot more that you can choose from, but we're just going to deal with these 4 because primarily these are the 4 that most people are using nowadays, and all 4 of these calls can be used from beginners all the way to advanced mouth callers. But there are differences in mouth calls, and some are easier to use than others as far as getting your airflow in. So someone that's just getting started in mouth calling may not be able to get the sounds that they want because they don't know how to control their air as good as someone who's played around with them for a lot longer. So let's look at them. So this here is what you would refer to as a batwing. It's shaped like a bat, that's why it's called batwing. But I want you to pay close attention to the cuts. You see these little missing pieces off this top reed. That's your top reed. That's where you're going to get your rasp. The more that top reed is cut with any call, the more rasp you're going to get, and the harder this call is going to be to blow. So the more reeds you've got gone, then you might as well say, well, that's more of an advanced call. It's going to take quite a bit of practicing to get it right. Okay, but this I would say probably would be in the middle. You still got some reed up here, you got some reed in the middle here. Just these 2 chunks here are missing. But I would say probably on a scale from 1 to 10, this would probably be maybe a 5, as far as difficulty to really use and as far as if you went just beginning and trying to get into mouth calling. But you're going to be able to get some good rasp, and you're still going to, it don't really require a whole lot of airflow to really do this call good. So this is a good call to start out with. Now we're going to get into another call. This is probably one of the most popular calls out there on the mouth call market today, and that is a ghost cut. This is unlike the batwing where you have two chunks missing here. You've got one little chunk missing right here in this top reed. This is a very easy call to blow, even for the beginner all the way to the advanced mouth caller. That's why it's so popular. You can get some really good rasp with this. Also, it's got enough reeds on the top and the bottom that you're going to be able to, it's going to be really easy to get airflow to really use it. So I would say a ghost cut would even be better than a batwing when you're getting into mouth calling. So I look for a ghost cut like that, and I really get some really good sounds from this ghost cut. Personally, I like the ghost cut more than I do the batwing, but I use the batwing too. This is my call. This is my signature series call. This is what you call a V cut. All right, it's 2.5 recall, and right on the top you have a V shape. That's why they call it a V cut. Now this particular call is a little bit harder to use, say, than these two. Even though it's got quite a bit of reeds, you've got a big chunk of this V, of the V shape that's cut out. This takes quite a bit of airflow, but this is probably going to have some of the best rasp out there if you want to get that real loud sounding raspy sound. So even though this is probably a little bit harder to use than these two, if you really want to get a good rasp sound in your turkey calling, this would be the one to go to. This one here is a double reed. Now, years ago, this was probably one of the most popular calls, but not much anymore. A lot of people don't even use a double reed or triple reed anymore. If you notice, there is no cut in that call at all. It's just a solid piece. There's no cuts in it at all. I still use a double reed probably the majority of the time when I'm working a turkey in. Right here is my 3 calls. Even though I use all of them, I use the batwing too, and I use some other, the cutter calls, which I've got in my vest, but I just use these 3 because they're the most popular. Right here is the 3 that I pack with me in the woods every single day during turkey season. These 3 calls, here is a soft calling son of a gun right here. This right here will do some of the best soft calling out there, and I'll demonstrate that in a moment. This is a kind of a medium in between, the ghost cut. This is going to give you that in between of this one and that one. This one is what I use for locating turkeys and to really getting them fired up from a distance, because you can really hear this at a good distance where you might not be able to hear this one as well as this one. So right here, when I'm working a turkey, these 2 calls right here pretty much are my go-to. I can pretty much call any turkey in North America in with them 2 calls right there. Even though that old double reed is kind of a lost art form today, it still is a great call, and I'm going to demonstrate. Like I said, these 2 are primarily what I use most of the time when I'm working a turkey every single spring. This call here, my signature series, I'm going to show you the little bit difference in the rasp and the soft, as far as you can soft call with this too if you're a good mouth caller and you really practice a lot. I'm just trying to speak from a general standpoint of what you want in your turkey vest if you're just starting mouth calling, or maybe you're in a kind of a medium average mouth caller. You know, this double reed's really going to help you out a lot. Now this particular call, like I said, is a V cut. This is why I use a V cut. It's for distance. It's for locating turkeys when I'm using a mouth call. If they're not responding to my box call or a slate call or glass call, a lot of times I'll be walking through the woods and I'll try to locate them a lot of times with the mouth call. And primarily I'm using my 2.5 reed V cut. Here's what it's going to sound like. You're going to notice it's got a lot of good rasp and a lot of good volume. You hear that? That raw, 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 raw. Yeah, I mean, it's echoing. You can hear it if you just hear it. It's like echoing off these trees. That really gets it out. And how many times have you heard a hen get really loud sometimes? And you can do some soft calling with it too. You know, you get that soft call. Now let's talk about the double recall a minute. Like again, it's kind of a lost art in turkey hunting, these double recalls. But when I get a gobbler located with this, many times when I get him coming in, I'll put this V-cut in my pocket and I'll pull out this double reed. Because a lot of times when a hen gets up there pretty close and that gobbler is out there and he knows that hen's close, you're not going to hear that loud clucking, or that loud purring, or that loud calling, even what we call a soft calling. You're going to hear really soft talking, and you can just do that so good with the double reed. Even a beginner that has no experience hardly of mouth calling can pick up a double reed call, and it takes no effort at all to get these sounds out of it. So what I do is, when I put this call up, I'll put a double reed in, and I'll start that really soft. Listen to the difference. No cut. It's just me barely getting any airflow at all, but it sounds so good. I'm putting no pressure at all hardly, and you're getting them little sounds. And you can get loud on them too. But again, you don't hear that rasp. It's really just what you like, but if you're a beginner mouth caller, use the double reed. You can do all that, fancy stuff even with it too. More advanced, you can get it to your cuts, and there's a lot more cuts out on the market. You just got to play with it. But remember, the more reed from that top that's cut, the harder that call is going to be to use as far as airflow. So that's something you might want to think about. So that's just a little review of what I use when I'm turkey hunting. And again, you just have to kind of play with it out there with the different calls. But if you don't have a lot of money to spend, double reed, ghost cut, batwing, probably your go-to calls for starting out. More advanced V cuts and your cutter calls, really get out there, locate them turkeys. So I hope that helps you, and hey, we're going to get after it. Here's a few more days in Alabama, and hopefully have a big longbeard for you in just a few days. Hey, make sure to subscribe to this channel. Just hit that subscribe button down the corner. I'd really appreciate it. We're out turkey hunting right now, so the production may be a little bit slow. I was doing like 2 videos a week. It may be 1 video a week. I'm going to try to do 2, but we got a lot more turkey hunting content coming. All you that's waiting for your season to start, you hang in there. Your season's coming really soon. So you'll be practicing them mouth calls, practicing them calls. Check out all the links below my DaleOutdoors.com, where you can get Dale Outdoor hats now. Also, the online store where you can get shirts, hoodies, and all the outdoor Dale Outdoor merch. Check out SpringFeverCustomCalls.com, where you can get my Signature Series mouth calls. Also, my Old Sly box call Signature Series. They should have some on the site right now. A lot of people's, they've been out of stock. A lot of people's been wanting some, so they should be available right now. Go over and get you one. Great call company. Check out SOSO Outdoors. Make sure to like and follow them as well on Facebook. Check out my Instagram page and follow me there as well, our new Instagram page. Still need a lot of followers over there, so you come over and join my Instagram page as well. Make sure to subscribe to Spring Fever Custom Calls YouTube page. I'll put the link in the description. SOSO Outdoors YouTube page. Their link will be down there as well. So check out all that. I'd really appreciate it, and hope that all of you that's out there hunting right now down in below the Mason-Dixon line is having some good success, better than what we are, but it's just the second day of the season. We'll get on the bird eventually. So you stay tuned for a lot more turkey hunting content. We'll see you in the next video.